Let me, on behalf of distinguished senators, welcome the proposed governor of Central Bank, the 4 deputies to this confirmation, screening, and hearing. It is not usual for the Senate to read the correspondence from Mr. President on the same day and take the nomination screening on the same day. But because of the exigency and the very crucial role that the central bank plays in the lives of all Nigerians, and particularly as the regulator of the Nigerian economy, we decided that with the information of the emergency resignation from office of the governor of Central Bank and the 4 deputies, we cannot allow a vacuum. So the Senate has to resume today to try to sort this out for the interest of all Nigerians and for the benefit of all Africans. So you are welcome. We'll start by taking the Central Bank proposed governor alone. So you will come in, you will introduce yourself, and let us know you. You will go a little bit into a summarized version of your resume, and thereafter you take questions from our distinguished senators. So I invite Olayemi Cardoso to take the stage.
I am indeed humbled to be here before you, standing as the nominee for the position of Governor of the Central Bank. My sincere appreciation goes to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The gravity of this moment is not in any way lost on me. I do not take lightly the confidence that has been reposed in me by the President through this nomination. Let me respectfully introduce myself. My name is Olayemi Cardoso. I was born 10th of July 1957. I'm an indigene of Lagos State. I'm born to parents of Brazilian descent in Popo Aguda.
Distinguished colleagues, so we can have a bit of order. I believe that incoming governor of Central Bank, if confirmed by these allo chambers, will be working as a team with his colleagues. So I would like him to take a seat. Let the other 4 deputy governors briefly introduce themselves. As your questions are coming, then they will decide who will answer best.
The Senate President, Senator Gostio Obotakpabio, distinguished Deputy Senate President, Baru Jibril, other distinguished leadership of the Senate, and distinguished senators. Good afternoon. I stand here very humbled and honored as the acting Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. My name is Eme Musoro, and I come from Akwa Ibom State.
Your Excellency, the President of the Senate, Your Excellency, the Deputy Senate President, Excellencies, distinguished leaders of the Senate, distinguished senators, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. With gratitude to Almighty Allah, my name is Muhammad Sani Abdullahi, born 26th October 1979 in Kaduna State.
And my name is Bala Mohamed Bello, and I'm from Kakara, Mambila Plateau, Sarana local government area of Taraba Central Senatorial Zone in Taraba State. I was born in the ancient city of Kakara, Taraba State, and I'm happily married, of course, with an army with 7 children.
Distinguished colleagues, having concluded the screening exercise, I want to put a question. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Olayemi Cardoso for appointment as Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Madam Eme Musora for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Muhammad Abdullahi Datijo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. And those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Philip Ikazo for appointment as Deputy Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate...
All right, that was some video of the National Assembly, Senate to be precise, screening the CBN, the acting CBN governor to become substantive governor amongst other deputy governors and some other ministerial nominees. All right, good day and welcome on today's show. We are always glad you could join us. This is Political Spectrum coming to you live from Uyo, the state's capital. And I remain your host, Olumese Ehinoma Olusegun. Remember that our conversations continue on our everyday political and economic developments in Nigeria and sometimes beyond. Now, on the President Tinubu's administration's calendar, today is 27th of September. It's a Wednesday, very sunny day, 2023, and it marks exactly 122 days of President Bola Tinubu in office as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is now exactly 4 months and 2 days as Commander-in-Chief of the entire Federation. Now, recent developments we are monitoring today begin from the organized labor, where they have advised Nigerian citizens to stock up their homes. That is, according to labor, telling Nigerians as NLC and TUC have officially declared to begin industrial action on the 3rd of October 2023. Now, organized labor has asked Nigerians to stock up their homes ahead of a nationwide strike due to commence October the 3rd. Now, General Secretary of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Emmanuel Ogwaja, said this during a joint briefing addressed by the President of the NLC, Joe Ajero, and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, Festus of Sifo, on Tuesday in Abuja. Now, the labor leaders said the National Executive Councils of the NLC and TUC in their various meetings deeply analyzed the current situation in the country, taking into cognizance the extensive hardship and deprivation afflicting our citizens across all states of the Federation, and unanimously condemned the apparent conscious lethargy and tardiness in handling the consequences of its petrol price hike in Nigeria. Barring last-minute intervention by the federal government, the organized labor has directed all workers in Nigeria to withdraw their services from their respective workplaces commencing from the 3rd of October. There you have the video. Let's take a listen to what the NLC and the TUC have said.
So, in the spirit of the Independence Day celebration, and to demonstrate our resolve for a truly independent Nigeria, to take our destinies in our own hands and rescue our nation. 2, to embark on an indefinite and total shutdown of the nation beginning on 0 hours, Tuesday, the 3rd day of October 2023. 3, to direct all workers in Nigeria to withdraw their services from their respective workplaces commencing from the 3rd of October 2023. 4, to direct all affiliates and state councils to immediately start mobilizing accordingly for action to organize street protests and rallies until government responds positively to our demands. 5, to enjoin all patriotic Nigerians to join hands across the nation to assist this government put the people back at the center of its policies and programs. So, in the spirit of the Independence Day celebration, and to demonstrate our resolve for a truly independent Nigeria, to take our destinies in our own hands and rescue our nation. 2, to embark on an indefinite and total shutdown of the nation beginning on 0 hours, Tuesday, the 3rd day of October 2023. 3, to direct all workers in Nigeria to withdraw their services from their respective workplaces commencing from the 3rd of October 2023. 4, to direct all affiliates and state councils to immediately start mobilizing accordingly for action to organize street protests and rallies until government.
All right, that was Festus of CFO making a very clear and unambiguous statement, flanked by the NLC President, Mr. Joe Ajero, and other members of the National Executive Council. Now, it directed all affiliates and state councils to immediately start mobilizing for industrial action, urging them to organize street protests and rallies until the government responded positively to its demands. Now, Labour's position followed the expiration of a 21-day ultimatum issued to the government on September the 1st. That ultimatum ended on Friday. Recall, prior to the expiration of the 21-day ultimatum, the NLC had embarked on a 2-day warning strike between 5th and 6th of this month to drive home its demands. Now, the Trade Union Congress didn't take part in that warning strike, saying it preferred to dialogue with the government before resorting to industrial action. Some of the demands put before the government by Labour included wage award and tax exemptions and allowances to public sector workers. Others are provision of compressed natural gas buses, which the president had agreed to do. Then the release of modalities for the 70 billion for small and medium enterprises, release of official of the National Union of Road Transport Workers by the Police Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, crisis in Lagos, among others. Now, the demand also included the immediate reversal of all anti-poor policies of the federal government, including the recent hike in PMS price, increase in public school fees, the release of 8 months withheld salaries of university teachers and workers, as well as the increase in value-added tax VAT. Now, on Friday, the Minister of Labour and Employment, Simon Lalong, secured the release of the elected members of the NURTW. The release of the official was one of the key demands of the NLC. Now, the other is the wage award. Speaking during the joint press conference at the end of an emergency NEC to review discussions with government, Ajero said there was no disagreement between Labour and government on the existence of massive suffering, impoverishment and hunger in the country as a result of the hike in the price of petrol, which demands an urgent need for remedial action. Now, the Labour leader said the government had totally abdicated its responsibility and had shown gross unwillingness to act, abandoning Nigerian people and workers to excruciating poverty and affliction. Now, according to him, the federal government has continued to grandstand and forestall all avenues to peace dialogue with organized labor on ways to save Nigeria from the hunger and suffering experienced across the nation. Now, as a result of the unconscionable hike in the price of PMS by the government, now they continue, and I quote, the government has continued to demonstrate not just an unwillingness to mitigate the massive hardship in the country, but also a complete lack of intention to take positive steps and empathy for the multi-dimensionally impoverished citizens of Nigeria. I continue, the federal government has therefore not met in any substantial way the demands of Nigerian workers and people are previously canvassed in our mutually agreed roadmap to salvaging the economy and protecting workers and Nigerians from the monumental hardship. The grace period given by the two labor centers has expired. Now, reading the resolutions reached at the NEC meeting, Osifo said, and I quote, to, in the spirit of the Independence Day, celebrate and to demonstrate our resolve for a truly independent Nigeria to take our destinies in our own hands and rescue our nation, to embark on an indefinite and total shutdown of the nation beginning on 0 hours Tuesday, the 3rd day of October 2023. Now, it's not over on the developments from the NLC and TUC. NLC and TUC to hold joint briefing to declare indefinite strike maybe today. Now, leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria will by 3 p.m. today hold a joint briefing to declare a nationwide indefinite strike. Our correspondents had gathered that the leaders of the two labor centers have resolved their differences that made only NLC embark on a 2-day warning strike with the participation of TUC. Now, recall that between Tuesday, September 5th, and Wednesday, 6, 2023, NLC embarked on a 2-day warning strike to force the government to address the mass excruciating sufferings of Nigerians, especially workers. According to sources, the two centers, after their separate organs meetings, will jointly hold a press briefing at 3 p.m. to announce an indefinite nationwide strike following the federal government's failure to address the sufferings and other socio-economic hardship occasioned by the removal of subsidy on premium motor spirits, commonly known as petrol, amongst other serious issues. It's our prayers that federal government and organized laborers find a common ground to agree so that the sufferings of the already 133 million multidimensionally poor Nigerians will not be plunged further into more sufferings. The nation is on a thread and at the precipice, and I expect at this point all stakeholders be sensitive enough to the plight of the average Nigerians. We advocate and we pray that things get better. All right, moving to the next very important development, INEC. This is almost like a theater of drama. INEC sets dates for Edo and Ondo state governorship amidst rifts between governors and the deputy governor, which is a common thing happening between the two states. Now, the Nigerian electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed dates for the conduct of the governorship elections in Edo and Ondo states, respectively. This was announced in a statement released on Monday by Sam Olumekon, its national commissioner and the chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee. Now, the electoral body said yes, did not join, and they said because they had not had enough adequate conversations with the federal government. But in this one, it appears the two major bodies are back, that's the NLC and TUC, and as we speak, they may have even started their own joint sessions of the meeting to decide and to make statutory statements that the industrial action will start on the 3rd of October. Now, a lot of people are agitated because we know the implication of a nationwide industrial actions. It means that the economies will be further crippled and a lot of activities will be halted. If you had noticed, even the NLC has started advising that Nigerians should use this short period to stock up their homes, especially with food and basic amenities, because the industrial action might take as long as it is. Now, the questions are, is government really taking labor seriously enough, or are they being insensitive to the plight of the NLC? And we know that that by extension, if you take NLC seriously, it means that NLC, which is representing a greater percentage of workers and citizens of the Federal Republic, you probably might just be giving them some listening ear. And if you're not, it means that a lot of problem will ensue. We do not know how healthy the relationship is with the Minister of Labour and members of the Labour Party. But we'll go on a short break and try and see whether we can rectify that technical hitch. Thereafter, we'll be right back to have the robust conversations with Dr. Usoro. Don't go anywhere. Join us again.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
right, due apologies for the technical hitch there. I'm told that we're back with Dr. Usoro, who was trying to establish the fact that both stakeholders, organized labor and government, instead of treating the main issues medically, are battling with the symptoms, if I had quoted him correctly. Doctor, welcome back. So please land on your point and we'll continue on the conversation. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I think basically they ought to just concentrate on the basic problems we have, which is extremely fundamental. We need good leadership. If you don't have good leadership, we're wasting our time.
True.
We don't need lackeys of colonialists, imperialists, for instance. That's the problem you're having in the French-speaking countries. The British are more subtle in the way they're dealing with us, more than the French. The French was so obvious. You know, the 11 covenant they signed with those French countries. That's why having all these coups in all the various former French colonies. So as much as possible, we try and divorce ourselves from these guys and fix our own country. If not, it's impossible. If people are coming from outside, you sign a defense compact with an enemy that should station troops, French troops in your country. Why you do things like that? It's very difficult. You can't progress. And you're told what to do. And eventually they'll bring in lackeys to rule over you. And you can never progress. You can never produce. You end up importing everything from them. These are fundamentals. They're the basic fundamentals we have. Because if we're going in working for these guys, it's not good. You run down your institutions, your education institutions, your hospitals and all that. So all your leaders will be trooping in to go and be treating themselves of minor ailments. You waste resources. We continue being poor in the process. So that's a major, and then it end up even the organized banks to keep stolen loot for your leaders, and they keep it there without signing next of kin and all that, and then you lose everything. And then they say you're the most corrupt country on earth, but those keeping the stolen money are not corrupt. They're the best countries. I mean, like Switzerland. These are fundamentals we have. So minus that, if we remove ourselves from the shackles of Great Britain and run here properly, we'll be delivered completely. You see how China has moved. You see how India has moved. You see how these people have moved. That's the fundamental problem. So this we're having all, just as if it's good to use wisdom. You know, any doctor that treats only symptoms and leaves the pathology is not a good doctor. We know that.
I agree.
So these are basic issues we have. So as much as possible, let's face those ones directly. I like their feeble attempts to go on strike. They've done that so many times. We've not seen results. At times they come and join them. They invite you to join them. Oshomole joined them, and then now he's reasoning like them. You know, he's not fighting for the workers like before.
So do you think, Doctor, do you think at this point that a strike or an industrial action, after the numerous attempts to try to agree between organized labor and government, do you think the strike action is still not the appropriate thing to do by your analogy of treating symptoms? Or what do you advise that the NLC and the TUC do in this case?
They don't have any other option apart from going on strike. But total strike is a major problem because they will actually even shut down your power plants. The power plants are not even functioning really. We hardly have power supply, apart from a few cities. So they will run down a lot of things, in fact, including the internet network and all that. So they likely ground the whole country completely.
Exactly.
Yes. So if they will respond, if a leader is interested in getting things done, he'll get it done. If the president wants to get things done, he'll get things done. There's no need for too much, semantics and stories. Yes, if President Tinubu wants to get things and ensure things improve as soon as possible, he can do it if he wants to. Parliament is supporting him almost 100%. So he doesn't have any excuse. He has to concentrate on do what he ought to do. He knows the problem. He's not ignorant of the problems of this country. So if he wants to do it, he can do it. We want leaders who are courageous, not who will bend to people who will bend you and do all sorts of things. Courageous leaders that get things done, and you see the solution immediately. There's no doubt about it. Why are we not having refineries functioning? And you're buying from all these people, sending crude oil, doing swap. He's stealing some of this, stealing most of it, sending a few to swap with another country, and exporting jobs there. and you think everything is fine. It is not. Yes.
Okay,
the
doctor.
artisanal, what do they call them? Those guys who are doing refineries, so-called illegal refineries. Get them on stream, register all of them, train them, collect taxes from them, and then we can have it. Don't be serving as, as lackeys to maybe Shell, BP, or all these outfits.
Okay, doctor,
Things
still
to do are
staying on your thought, doctor. You've just said something
Yes.
that if the government actually wants to get things done, they can get things done. Now, but here are the bane of contention. The government is saying that the deterioration of the economic and political deterioration of Nigeria didn't happen in few months. It took years, and that he's not a magician. That Nigerians should give him time. So, in relating to what you just said, do you think that since you know that government can do the right thing at the right time, do you think government is not really taking NLC and TUC and the Nigerian workers seriously? Do you think the government is not taking them seriously?
I'm not. The government is pretending to be confused.
Okay.
Pretend to be. They know what is going on. There's no doubt about that. You and I know. Yeah, how can you and I know? And they have more information than you and I. Then how can we know the problem and know what to do? And they pretend they don't know what to do. Yes, if they want to do, they will do it. There's no doubt about that. You can reduce costs in other areas and use those funds to sort out things honestly. Yes, not wastefully. Do things properly. Why? You can't sell our crude drill from our ground here to a local refiner the same price like with OPEC price. No, there should be a way around it. I don't know what covenant they enter into with OPEC, but there should be a way around this that we get this thing cheap. I know we have other problem with smuggling to neighboring countries if the price is too low. That is the argument. They said, oh, if we increase the price, there won't be any more smuggling. It's a defeatist argument.
Okay.
You can get things done and let people be serious. The workers are serious. The workers are efficient. The workers are not corrupt. They're not collecting bribes at the borders and all that. So you can get. It's possible to do it. If the government wants to do anything, they can do it. If they are good, if they say when the righteous rules, the people rejoice.
Yeah.
Yes, your unrighteous person is ruling. You won't see results. He will give you stories. Only journalists give stories. A leader is supposed to lead, provide solutions to problems. Only journalists are supposed to be giving you stories and excuses. The other day I heard the National Security Advisor saying that how many millions of dollars have been stolen. It's not your duty to tell us. The journalists should tell us. Not National Security Advisor. You plug the loophole. You say you have stopped this. You have stopped this. You have stopped this. You correct. That is your job as National Security Advisor, not to be telling us stories. Yes, that's the problem we have in Nigeria.
Okay. Still on the issue of the industrial action, let's rewind back. When government rolled out its policy on the palliatives to cushion subsidy, there were some promises government made, which include 75 billion naira to some enterprises to further industrialize them and provide jobs, a certain amount in hundreds of millions, as startup capital to small and medium scale enterprises, converting majority of our automobiles and generators to compressed natural gas. All these things seemed very beautiful on paper. But those policies have been announced officially for close to about 2 months or more, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot is yet to be accomplished. Now, Doctor, the question I'd like to ask you is, first of all, are those policies good enough, to at least cushion the effects of the problem we have on the average Nigerian citizen? And if they are good enough, do you think that if government actually achieves those things, the stress will go down on Nigerians?
It's government. It is possible if they are serious. It is possible, but what I'm saying is now the cart before the horse. Yes, some of these palliatives are very shameful. It's like converting the entire country into a refugee camp. It's very shameful. Yeah, and then distributing rice to everybody. Those things don't solve any problem. Some, I know in my village, some of them got rice about 3 cups, some family, 3 cups of rice. These are not ideas. It's very shameful because I'll be ashamed to do that in the first place. And then you're announcing this to the international community. They wonder what brains you have, what quality of leaders you have. Yes, the other thing is a long gestational life to set up gas plants everywhere and then to convert virtually most cars and then the CNG vehicles. You're not producing them here. Innocent is here, they won't use it because of either nepotism or because maybe the one where they can collect big bribes that nobody would know. Innocent, they can fix those things here, but you're going outsourcing our resources, outsourcing jobs to go and collect vehicles, to come and CNG vehicles, to come and move people, around. What of those who have their vehicles to convert those things to convert this from PMS to gas or a hybrid? It costs money. Yes, so those things will take time. It will take quite some time. There's no doubt about that. Immediate solution is obviously making things available cheaply, making jobs available. There's what we call backward integration, import substitution in most of these products so that you can stop. China did it successfully. They were blackmailed by the West. They say, the Dark Kingdom, these iron curtain. They call them all sorts of names. But they shut down their place and produced. And they're producing for the whole world, including Rolls-Royce jet engines and all that, producing for the entire planet. We can do the same thing. We have enough talents to do everything. We have enough human resources, but everybody's going out. Where the environment is conducive. So that's a major challenge. You're wasting time. You announce suddenly a withdrawal of subsidy. It's actually ambiguous. I'm not too sure the substance of it is all the bundle of corruption everywhere. Bundle of corruption everywhere. The subsidy issue is a big conundrum of corruption.
So you do not believe in the subsidy, the subsidy palliatives. You personally don't believe in it.
No, do things that are proper. Don't share rice. And then you in the guise of subsidy, you give parliament 70 million. Give them
70 billion, you mean?
Bulletproof vehicle and all that. But it's not unnecessary. It's unnecessary. They are earning too much in the first place. And then you're earning too much. National parliament, they're earning too much in the first place. Now you're adding palliatives to them. It's not very good. It's quite unfair. I think you're not dealing with only a few elites. So the rest can go and die. No, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good. It should be proper thing. And it takes time. It's not something like people are suffering. People are suffering. I don't know where you live, but where I live, I see a lot of people suffering. They can hardly cope.
I see it too, Doctor. You are very correct.
If we can improve power supply, people stop buying diesel and PMS to power their generator, all these businesses. A lot of things will change overnight. Rather than giving people cups of rice. It's actually insanity. Yes.
Doctor, you put it...
It's insanity to share 3 cups of rice to people. You say you're doing palliative. Because
Doctor, you put it in the lowliest of ways, but I quite understand your point. Doctor, please, you are going to hang on for us. We're going to take a short break. Thereafter, you are going to act as a special advisor to the federal government. But this time we want specifics, because you seem to have disagreed with a lot of the policies government has brought in. So we'll go on a short break. Thereafter, we'll be right back. Join us again.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTimes DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by grossly abused. Our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but we can't be talking about cases which are in court.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.
All right, many thanks for staying tuned. If you're just tuned in, you have joined us on Political Spectrum, which is coming live from Spectrum Television in Uyo. And I still have with me Dr. Odofia Uso, who is a very experienced public affairs analyst. And we've been bantering and having conversations around the issues surrounding the planned industrial action by organized labor and the seeming, in quotes, insensitivity of government in relation to this fact. Doctor, welcome back. Now let's move into the issue of minimum wage. A lot of pundits have argued that by law, minimum wage at this point should have been increased, but for one reason or the other, the obvious being that the nation is bereft of finances and we're probably running the nation on borrowed money, nothing as such has been brought to the fore. The average Nigerian workers take home currently as we speak doesn't have any purchasing power at all because the value of the naira has been completely deflated. And people are even still arguing that even if the minimum wage is increased as we speak, the purchasing power of the naira for workers will still not be good enough to take care of the average Nigerian worker. So what is your own opinion about the issues surrounding minimum wage, government's responsibility, and NLC's actions as we speak?
I think minimum wage parameters actually use a good algorithm to arrive at a minimum wage. Well, minimum wage, it shouldn't be maybe possibly you take a house up and discussing minimum wage. Basically, maybe for government and organized private sector, basically. The way it is, the value of the currency, in my opinion, 200,000 naira is like the dead minimum to any human to survive properly in this country, depending on the nature of job you're giving. Nigeria has a fundamental challenge with respect to, especially in the civil service, employing too many people who are virtually doing nothing. So I don't just send them home. You can redeploy them to productive sectors, for instance. Yes, if government is setting up research farms and places like that, you can deploy this in where they can be properly utilized. But a minimum of 200